Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Path to 1 Million. This is episode 57. I have a big announcement to make. So the Path to 1 Million podcast has been approved by iTunes. It is out there, and because it's been approved on iTunes, it's now available on all of the other platforms out there as well. If you are using Stitcher, if you're using Google Play, if you're using Spotify, if you're using Overcast or any number of podcast listening platforms, the podcast is actually everywhere. This last week, I have been working on filling the back episodes of the podcast. Essentially, what I'm doing, in case you don't know, is every day that I shoot one of these videos here, I actually record the video and then I posted it onto different platforms. And now I'm taking the audio of those videos and putting it out there as a podcast. That was the third part of my prong approach, so to speak. Was first off was just to do the video. Second off was to take the video, get it transcribed, put it out there in a written format. And then the last piece of the puzzle was, of course, putting it out there into an audio format as well. Now, this last week, like I said, I've been busy posting the back episodes onto the website. Yesterday, I made it to episode 26. It's taken a little bit longer than I thought to do it, but it is getting out there. One of the things that really shocked me, though, yesterday as I was working on putting the back episodes out there, and keep in mind, I've done nothing to promote the podcast. I haven't said anything about it because I'm trying to, like I said, get the back episodes back up there again. I haven't done anything about it. But yesterday when I logged into the site that actually hosts the actual audio files itself, I was shocked to see that over the last 3 days, 44 episodes of my podcast have already been downloaded. And I'm not talking about the other podcasts. I'm talking about the Path to 1 Million podcast. 44 episodes have been downloaded. And I had to check that number twice. I could not believe it. And I could actually see on there that one of this episode had been downloaded, 3 of this episode had been downloaded. And I just remember I was completely shell-shocked by that. Completely shell-shocked. So I went and I took a look at, and I know I've talked about this before, I took a look at the Long Beach Impact podcast, podcast that I haven't done anything with in over a year. That had, so far this month, had 144 downloads, just this month alone. And what pleased me is that a few of the downloads for this month, you'll get the occasional person who downloads maybe 1 episode or 2 episodes, but every now and then you'll see a day where somebody will download all 20 episodes of that particular podcast. And I go back and I take a look at LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, my videos are getting anywhere between 20 to 25 views. I look at Facebook, and my videos there are getting 50, 75. Some of them have gotten 100 views. Take a look at the articles that I'm putting out there, and people are liking and commenting on the articles. And to tell you the truth, I was a little bit overwhelmed by that. I took a couple minutes and I walked away from my desk. I decided to grab a cup of coffee in the mid-afternoon, and I remember I was sitting there pouring myself a cup of coffee, and I was looking out the window, and the one thing that occurred to me when I was looking out the window was, and a little voice said it in the back of my head, but Cliff, this is what happens when you have purpose. This isn't something that I do because I'm inspired to do it or because I'm motivated to do it. It's because I've defined my purpose. And I remember that when I first started thinking about purpose, actually it was a handful of years ago, a number of years, I didn't even think about purpose, really, truth be told. I remember sitting in a cubicle at work, doing the same thing every day, grinding it out every day. And it seemed like the weekend was just, meant to have fun and, go and exploring, different restaurants or eating different foods or, hitting the beach or whatever it was. But I never really gave much thought to purpose until I joined this marketing group a handful of years ago. And then I really started to think about it. And the other day, a friend of mine, Paula, had posted this book. She's doing the 7-day challenge where you post 7 books that really impacted your life. And she posted this book out there that was called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. And I love that book. And it did talk a little bit there about purpose. And it really helped me to define the fact that, you really do want to live the story that you want to tell, right? So if you think your story is boring, then you need to take action to make your story not boring. And then being able to tell your story and be able to share it with other people. And that got me onto this kick about, purpose and what my purpose is. And I know that at the time that I was writing and I was starting to post more on Facebook and people were starting to engage on it even more, but seeing all of the stories that have been downloaded via the podcast and how people are interacting with the podcast and how they're downloading the episodes. I mean, like I said, it's been over a year since I've done anything with those podcast episodes, but it really crystallized to me that, and this was something that I felt when I was doing the Long Beach Impact podcast, but that was in alignment with my purpose. And my purpose is to build platforms for people to be able to share their story with everybody, anybody who wants to listen, with an audience, whether that's, maybe 10 people or whether that's 10,000 people, it's irrelevant. A lot of people out there have powerful short stories to be shared. They're just not sharing the stories. And that's okay, because I built a platform to allow them to be able to do that. And I remembered when I was doing the podcast, when I would actually finish recording the podcast, I would lean up and I would tap the little button on the recorder and I would look at my guests and I would say, that's it, we're done. And there was like a magic that you could feel in the air, and their eyes got as big as saucers and they would just smile and they're like, we're done? That was easy. I'm like, yeah, of course it was easy. All you're doing is sharing your story. That's it. That's all I'm doing. That's what I want to do, is I want to be able to share your story. And just the reaction that these people would give was it was amazing. And I would get goosebumps after every single interview, because, I had done something to positively impact that person that day, and that's really like the really only feedback I'm looking for is, did I impact, at least one person that day? And by sharing these stories and by getting them out there, at least I know for my part anyways, I've impacted one person. And if one person downloads that episode and listen to it, then they have been impacted as well. I just didn't realize the power or the extent at which these stories could impact people, even all of these years later, and it was for me anyways, it just reminds me that this is your purpose, Cliff. This is what you are meant to be doing, is creating these platforms for people to share their stories. And I wanted to share with you a quote from Pastor Rick Warren. He wrote in his book, The Purpose-Driven Life, knowing your purpose motivates your life. Purpose always produces passion. Nothing energizes like clear purpose. On the other hand, passion dissipates when you lack purpose. Just getting out of bed becomes a major chore, and it is meaningless work, not overwork, that wears us down, saps us of our strength, and robs us of our joy. And it just made me think to myself, I said, you know what? This is the exact reason why every single day, when my alarm goes off at 3:00, I'm out of bed. Every single day. There's no debate. There's no, I have to ease into my day. There's nothing else. I wake up, turn on the coffee pot, jump in the shower. I've got a book in front of me. I'm caffeinating myself, getting my energy level up for the day. But all I know is that from the moment that I wake up, within a few hours, I'm going to be sharing a story. And I want that story to impact somebody. And it may impact them today. It might impact them tomorrow. It could be next week, next month. Or as my podcast proved, could be next year. Who knows? But all I know is that by sharing these stories and by sharing the lessons that I'm learning and putting these stories out there, somebody's going to engage with that content, and somebody's going to be impacted by it. And that's why I'm creating all these different platforms, why I do these videos, right? Why I created the LinkedIn lead generation process. That is just nothing more than companies to be able to share their stories with potential clients. And it's why I'm so excited that in the future, I've got another podcast that right now is in its infancy stages. I'm putting together. I'm so excited for it. I can barely breathe. I almost wish it was like 3 or 4 months into the future right now. I'm just so stoked to be able to do that. So anyways, that's another thing that I'm working on that's coming down the pipe. But like Pastor Rick Warren says, purpose trumps inspiration for me. Purpose trumps motivation for me. Purpose is the fuel for belief, and I believe that I can do this. My purpose allows me to build these platforms to be able to get my message out there, and guess what? It makes me believe that I really can impact 1 million people. It's not a pipe dream. I believe that I can do it. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you today and give you all of that good news. I really do hope that you guys have a phenomenal Saturday and I will see all of you tomorrow.